Back to the root of the country's current financial turmoil, the collapse of the U.S. housing market, which has forced millions of American homeowners into foreclosure and cost financial institutions more than $500 billion. We just heard the hopes of one congressman as lawmakers try to throw a lifeline to distressed homeowners. But we're going to now show you how much can be accomplished with this bailout plan and what else needs to be done. Here now is attorney and author of The Skinny on the Housing Crisis, What Every Homeowner and Home Buyer needs to know, Jim Randel. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning to you.
Great to have you here. You can break this down for us in really simple terms. How did we get into this mess?
Well, it was a perfect storm of a lot of things. There's obviously greed, there's negligence, there's some criminality, there's some, I think, a big problem was financial illiteracy. A lot of people got themselves into houses that they shouldn't have been in, into debt that they shouldn't have taken, just by not understanding some basics. And again, this isn't brain surgery. This is information that people could have had. They were misled. They weren't ready for the process, and they got themselves in trouble.
How much of the downward spiral, though, in many of these companies, whether it be the home builders or the financial companies, was due to the resetting of adjustable rate mortgages, where they had these beautiful short-term rates at, 5% for 2 years, and then at the end of those 2 years, all of a sudden, your interest rate on your monthly mortgage is now 8 or 10%. I mean, how much of it was that?
There's some of that. That's the teaser rate problem. But the government has kept rates down as best they can for just that reason, to prevent these teaser rates when they expire from spiking upward. Probably more problematic is something you may have heard of, the payment option loan, which was an interest-only, low teaser rate, and the borrower could pay not exactly what they wanted, but below what was due. You had negative amortization, so the mortgage was getting larger rather than smaller, and that's been a big problem.
Wow, that's something that we haven't talked as much about. When you look at this bailout package or this rescue plan that they're talking about, what in this rescue plan will help housing in your mind?
Well, putting liquidity back into the system. I spoke with a broker in Connecticut, where I live, yesterday, and for the last few weeks, the home buying world has been flatlined, as you might expect, because people are confused. What's going on? Are we going up? Are we going down? I think the bailout plan is a good thing. I also like to see Chairman Bernanke get on the air and explain to people, hey, here's the problem. Here's the history of our country. Here's how we've gotten through these situations in the past. Here's the mark-to-market rule, which really distorts the losses that these banks and lenders may be incurring, and just get confidence back into the system.
Yeah, confidence is such a big part of this entire story. What would you recommend that they do that they are not discussing? I know you think that we should do some things like tax breaks, incentives to get home buyers off the fence. Walk me through some of those ideas.
Well, there's certainly an argument that the bailout plan is addressing the symptoms, not the disease. We're talking about the results of the problem, and the problem is a housing crisis, lack of confidence, people sitting on the sidelines. You know, when the government wanted to incentivize people to renovate historic properties, for example, they created this tax credit program, and it worked. We could do things with tax credits, increased deductions, things that would get people off the sidelines, back in the housing market, jumpstart the market, and then maybe we start to go in this direction.
How long before you think the housing market begins to correct itself?
Well, that's a big question, and nobody knows. I'm going to say early 2009 we're going to see the bottom.
All right, I hope that is correct. I certainly do. Jim Randel, thanks so much for breaking it down for us. Great having you here.
Thank you.